everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today. Well, me actually, but I have helpers in the background again today. So, it's just going to be me today. We had a couple under the weather, so I am here to join you guys. So, pop in the chat, talk with me so I'm not alone. I love to talk with people. So, I would love to chat with all of you and hear all about everything that you guys are growing in April in your areas and where you're from and all of that. I am here in Oklahoma in zone 7. It is very chilly today. We had a cold front come through. It was so nice yesterday. It was like really warm. I was outside in short sleeves and I was actually getting a little warm. But today, like I was out there in like long sleeves and a jacket and I'm like, brr, it's so cold. So April is just, yeah, it's hit or miss, I feel like, in April on what the temperature is going to be. And yeah, but I absolutely love it. And April is a really great month to be. Wow. So, Siri's apparently trying to tell me all about the weather too on my watch, in case you heard that. um, yeah. So, anyways, what I was saying, please pop into the chat. I'd love to hear from you guys. And then let me know in the chat where you guys are from, and also what you guys are planning on growing this season. And then we're going to talk a little bit about everything that we're starting this April, and I'm going to try and make it broad for different places. So like the northern area, central and southern, and try to overlay and talk a little bit about a little bit of everything. So let's jump in. Oh, I do see that some people are in the chat saying they had severe weather, some severe storms coming. We had some severe weather coming in last night. We were supposed to be having a whole bunch, but we luckily dodged it. It all went a little bit east of us, luckily. But I was out there getting the garden all prepared and ready for softball size hail was what they had forecasted. Luckily, we dodged it all. So hopefully Renee, hopefully you can dodge it as well. I see that you have some severe storms coming in. So good luck. Hopefully your garden stays good. Oh, and hi Patty. Oh, awesome. From my hometown Torrance. Yep, that is where I was born. Awesome. Well, welcome Patty. That's exciting. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about some of the seeds that you can grow this April. I have a long list of plants and I'm excited to get talking about all of these. I have a little bit of everything intermixed. I have some veggies, some fruits, some flowers, a little bit of everything. Hopefully something for everybody that everybody wants to grow. And also at the end, before I forget, we are going to be giving away a free 1-year premium from Seed to Spoon app subscription to one lucky person. So make sure that you guys are over here commenting in the chat and talking to us. And each time you comment, you'll be entered in to win one of the premium app subscription for today. And I will announce the winner at the end of this workshop here in a little bit. Okay, so first on the list that I have is one of my favorites. Oh, and I forgot to mention too. So my helpers today are going to be pulling up some of our favorites varieties down below, and they'll each have a QR code right there for our favorite variety. It'll link directly back to Park Seeds. So if you guys wanted to check it out, feel free to scan that QR code right there. And then also, before I forget too, we have a QR code up in the very corner for downloading our app. So if you guys don't already have our From Seed to Spoon app, make sure you download it and check it out because it will help you a lot. It helps me all the time. I go through and look all the time to see what I should be starting growing and what it's time for, and look at the exact planting dates, what companions when I'm out in the garden, what goes with what. And so I use it all the time. So if you don't already have it, make sure you check it out. Okay, first on the list is sunflowers. Now, I absolutely love sunflowers because, well, first of all, they're incredibly easy. They pretty much will come year after year. Right after, I feel like I plant them once and then just keep coming back. They're like, they just grow wild now. It's amazing. I love them. Um, but they are something that is amazing to add into your garden because it'll add a lot of color, a lot of pollinators into your garden. And you can get starting these out really soon, depending on where you are, too. Um, Around 2 weeks before your last spring frost. So for us, we here in Zone 7, we can already be going out and planting sunflowers in our area. So it's amazing. And it won't take them very long, just like a couple months to go to bloom or harvest E2, because you can also eat them, which is amazing because you can eat the inside, the little sunflower seeds, and they taste incredible. If you guys haven't eaten fresh sunflower seeds before, you definitely need to try it. The store-bought has nothing on fresh sunflower seeds. We were amazed the first time we tried it. Okay, so Mo says sunflowers are perennials. So no, but they will drop seeds at the end because we don't typically harvest like every single one because there's a lot of seeds that come in there, and they will self-seed themselves and they will come back without me having to do anything. So they'll drop the seeds into the ground and they'll just pop back up in the springtime. So I love that because I don't have to do a lot of work and a lot of planting. So we have like wild patches all around our garden of sunflowers now. It's amazing. Okay. Next. Okay, let's talk about tomatoes. So tomatoes, I know is probably, so for the north, it's going to be a little early for you to be starting tomatoes outdoors, but you can be doing them indoors. But it is going to be time to be starting tomatoes outdoors for both the southern and some of the central as well, because like for us, our predicted last frost is supposed to be here in like a week or two for Zone 7. So we can get these out come mid-April. And typically we actually, we might be starting to try and push some out a little bit. And that's kind of the beauty too of tomatoes. I can put some into some smart pots, which are just these fabric raised beds. And I love smart pots. They're super durable and they're great for the plants. But we have several of our tomatoes into these smart pot transplanters. And we're going to be moving them outdoors, trying to first harden them off, getting them used to the environment. But then also, they are really good because if we do get a sudden frost, we can just pick them up and move them, bring them inside. So we definitely do not want these tomatoes to go through a frost. So definitely wait until after your last spring frost. So hopefully, if you are like me, you will be having your last spring frost this month and you can plant them out this month here in the upcoming weeks. And I know some people, especially in the South, go for it because you guys probably have already had your last spring frost, which is amazing. But I always go off of our From Seed to Spoon app. It'll give you exact planting dates based on your closest weather station. It'll predict what all that. So for tomatoes, there's a few different varieties that you can grow. There are determinate, which are the bush varieties. And then there's the indeterminate, which are like the ones that vine and will need a trellis. So this Roma that we have pulled up right here on the screen, I absolutely love. They are super, super amazing because they will flourish and just give you a whole bunch of tomatoes. They are great for like canning or making salsas, things like that, because you get a whole bunch of tomatoes like all at once. It's amazing. And this Roma actually, so Parkseed has this sale that they have a 10 for 25 going. So you can go in there. That is actually one of the seeds that is a 10 for 25 seed. So if you get 10 of them, you get the discount for it. It's amazing. So definitely check that out if you're wanting to grow some tomatoes. It is definitely one of our favorites. Another favorite of ours is the Whopper varieties. I absolutely love those. Those are definitely going to be a lot bigger. So this one right here is a junior Whopper. These are little cherry tomatoes that will grow and vine. So you want to make sure to give them some support, like a trellis. Our favorite way to trellis is by doing like an arch trellis. So we have several arch trellises built in our garden out there, and we have smart pots lined up along it. And we're going to be growing these Whopper tomatoes, and they're going to be vining up the trellis and going around. It's going to be so beautiful, and it's going to taste amazing. I love it. So again, depending on what variety you're going to be growing, you're going to have a different time to harvest. So some places you can get these out now. Some places you got to wait just a little bit longer. We're going to be growing these outside really soon. So tomatoes are definitely something great to be looking at adding to your April garden. Okay, next I wanted to put a marigold, because marigolds are amazing companion plants for tomatoes. So marigolds are probably, they're an amazing companion plant for a lot of different things. They will help to bring in a lot of beneficials, pollinators, but they will also bring in the good companions, the good pests, not the pests, but the ones that go eat the pests. And you want those to be in there to help you with pest management. So things like the wasps and the ladybugs and things like that, it'll help bring in all of those, and those will work for you, which is great. So marigolds, the seeds, you can actually start these by seed 2 weeks before your last spring frost, which is great. So if you haven't started these yet, pretty much wherever you are right now, hopefully you can get these started here very, very soon. So let's see, do marigolds require light to germinate? No, not technically. They do not need light to germinate at all. So you can sow them inside if you wanted to without grow lights, and get them transplanted outdoors if you still want to do it. Kimberly says, highly recommend marigolds with your tomatoes. They did wonders for her garden last year. Chickens and ducks went nuts over the yummy snacks as they started wilting. Awesome. That's great. Yeah, marigolds are amazing. Great companion plant. And Mo says marigold seeds are easy to harvest and grow from seed. Yes, absolutely. Marigolds are one of the super simple flowers to start from seed. So if you are even a beginner and you haven't grown very many flowers, I highly recommend checking out marigolds. They are going to be one of your easiest ones, and they will be beautiful, add a lot of color, bring in lots of beneficials. Yeah, you will love it. And it doesn't take them very long at all to go to bloom, which is amazing. And you can also eat them. A lot of people don't know that, but marigolds are actually edible too. So if you want to eat them, you can just take the flowers, you can use them in salads or stir fries, like people always do. Different things with marigolds. So it is one of the edible ones, and it is amazing to do too. Okay, this is a great question. So what zone am I in? Danville, California. So looks like they looked it up for you. 9B. But I will say too, so make sure you download the From Seed to Spoon app, because honestly, you don't even technically have to know what your zone is, because you can just go in there and it'll pull from your location, and it'll pull the nearest weather station for you and calculate everything out for you. So you don't have to go through and see like what dates you should be planting things for your area, because the app will have everything all calculated out for you. That's one of my favorite things about it. Okay. Let's talk carrots next. So carrots is another really good companion for tomatoes as well. They are something that probably, again, hopefully everybody can get started right now, no matter where you are. Carrots will be amazing because, first of all, who doesn't love fresh carrots from the garden? There's so many different fun varieties. My favorite variety, hopefully they pop up my favorite variety down here. But my favorite variety are rainbow carrots. They are so good. They have the different colors. So it's really fun. There's also different purple ones. Yep, there we go. Rainbow carrot seeds. Oh, and it's also in the 10 for $25 sale too. Nice. So there, we have a lot of our 10 for 25s going here today so far. Awesome. Um, but yeah, rainbow carrots are amazing because there's all those different colors and varieties and things that you can't find at the store. They also have at Park, it's purple dragon, I think is what it's called, seeds, which are amazing. And those are just like these dark purple carrots, which are really tasty too. And I highly recommend giving those a try because the kids love them too whenever they go through and harvest. It is so fun because they're pulling them out and trying to see what color it is first. So we're all shouting, "Oh, we got a purple. Oh, we got yellow. We got," it's really fun. Um, okay, so we have another question. Let's see. Should I plant carrot seeds before transplanting out my tomato plants? Yes, I would say definitely plant out your carrots first because carrots, I mean, you can plant 4 to 6 weeks before your last spring frost. So you can get those started now and they will help too to aerate the soil and get the soil really good for your tomatoes too. And then you can transplant your tomato plants after you get your carrots already established and growing too. Okay, AB says, I always struggle to get carrots to full size. Any tips? Yes, so carrots can be a little tricky to germinate too. So, one of the biggest mistakes I feel like that people make with carrots are just keeping them moist because sometimes carrots can take a little while to germinate and they need to stay moist while they're germinating. So it is really important to make sure that you are out there keeping the soil continually moist while they're germinating. Um, the biggest thing that I always say to do is to put like a burlap or like something like that over top of them, moisten that, and then it'll help to keep those seeds a lot moister and it'll for longer so you don't have to go out there quite as much. Just make sure you remove it once they do germinate so that way they can get some sun. Also, a few things to make sure that you are thinning them down so once they do pop up, because you don't want to have like a big clump of the carrots all together. So you want to make sure that they're spaced out really good so that way they're not growing into each other. So that can be an issue as well. So making sure you go out there with like little scissors. So don't just tug at them because that can hurt the root system. So just take a little pair of scissors, go out there and snip, 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 and make sure you have plenty of space for each carrot. Um, and also just making sure that the soil is workable. So it's not super clay-like, it's not hard, you don't have like rocks or anything like that in there. A good like aerated soil is great for carrots. Beverly says, so how long to harvest carrots? So, I mean, typically it's anywhere between like 2 to 3 months before you can harvest, depending on the variety. There are some varieties that you can get that are like little half length ones and that will grow a lot faster. And then they have the full length ones too that'll take longer. So, you can grow whichever one you have time for in your area. Now, carrots do not like the heat. So if you don't have enough time to get these in, I'd say wait for fall. But also a benefit too of planting them with your tomatoes. Not only do the carrots help the tomatoes, but the tomatoes help the carrots in return too, because they help to provide some shade. So the carrots can last a little bit longer into the summer. So it'll help to protect them a little bit. So you can help grow a little bit further in the summer. So Kimberly says, last year my carrots came out of the planter pretty soft. Did I leave them too long? I can't remember how long they stayed, but I think we had like 2 total carrots came out edible. Oh, I'm sorry. That stinks. So a few different things. It would be either like over watering. So maybe if they were too moist throughout their creation stage as they were growing, that could cause it, or being in there for too long as well. That is definitely a possibility. Usually you'll see lots of like roots coming out if they were in there for too long. I would probably just, for preventing this in the future, I would try to stop watering about like maybe a week before harvesting. So that way they are not soft or anything like this. And I do want to mention too, so on the on the From Seed to Spoon app, if you go in and you log that you planted carrots, it will go through and it'll calculate out like when should it germinate as well as when it should be able to harvest. So that way you know exactly and you can remember when you can go through and harvest it or when you should go through and harvest it. And this is something that is key for me because I can never remember. And it's not quite as simple with carrots as it is for something like broccoli, where you can just see it right there and you know it's ready. But with carrots, it's underground, so I always forget, and I'm like, oh, when did I plant those? So that's why I always go through and I make sure I log all of my plants, and I log especially the carrots and any root crops, things like that, so I can remember when to go through and harvest. Okay, next we have peppers. So peppers, hopefully everybody has time to get peppers in. So peppers do not like the cold again at all. So you want to make sure that you start these after your last spring frost. So down south, hopefully it should be about time for you. For us here in zone 7, towards the end of this month, we are going to be planting these outside. And then up north, now's a good time to get them started indoors. So there's a lot of different varieties again. So I just included a bulk peppers because there's a lot of different ones. There's banana peppers, bell peppers, sweet peppers, hot peppers. There's so many different options. And yes, so we pulled up the Parks Whopper jalapeno pepper seeds. Now these ones are awesome. They are huge jalapenos. I love them. And I feel like they're more of a mild taste as well, and which is amazing for us because I don't personally like super spicy. I like a little bit of spice, so these are perfect for me. And it's good enough for Dale too because he loves everything super spicy, but he still really likes these too. So these are amazing, amazing jalapenos to add into your garden. So next we have these are poblano peppers, a variety of poblanos, which those are another one of my favorites. I love poblanos because we make these with rice. Actually, I make like I go through and I cut off the stems and I run them through a food processor, with some water and or some chicken broth or something like that, and then I put it into rice while I'm cooking the rice and it like cooks into the rice. It's so good. Trust me, you have to try it. But you can do it with any sort of pepper, but my favorite pepper to use for that rice are these poblanos. They're very, very good. Okay, Renee wants to know, how do you keep the indoor seedlings from flopping a few weeks after sprouting? Okay, so you do want to make sure that you have plenty of light for these peppers. And also, I imagine that it's hopefully not too cold in your seed starting area. If you used um, a heat mat to germinate, they should be great then. Um, so make sure you have plenty of light. Also, if you don't have a fan, I would definitely recommend having a fan in there because that'll help build up their strength too. It will help them to prevent from any moisture issues, mold, damping off, things like that. So having a fan will help to boost their strength and keep them up. And also, once they do have their first set of true leaves, you can go through and fertilize them. And that will help to keep them healthy indoors because I know, especially for us, like peppers, we start indoors like a good like month or two before we get them transplanted outdoors. So we do quite a bit of fertilizing rounds indoors to keep them going. And one thing we have done, I know we keep them indoors a lot for a long period of time, and we actually just up potted them into the Smart Pots transplanters, and they're just like these little 1 gallon transplanters. They're amazing. So they were starting to they were starting to outgrow the area that they were in and getting root bound. So we were like, oh no. So we transplanted them into these smart pots. So we don't have to worry about them at all getting root bound because they don't do that in smart pots. but they have these, we just put them in there. And then whenever we're ready to take them out to the garden, we can just unwrap the transplanter and plant them out. It's going to be perfect. See, Sally says, I'm having problems getting habaneros to germinate. Don't have this problem with other peppers. What am I doing wrong? So I will say that these hotter peppers generally do take longer to germinate. So they do have a longer germination time, and they will require more heat as well. So make sure you do have a heat mat going. If you don't have a heat mat, it's going to take a really long time. So I'd highly recommend, if you're going to be doing sprouting, especially of the hotter peppers, definitely have a heat mat going. Constance says, love poblanos too. Should you use a heat mat on all peppers? Yes, I would highly recommend doing a heat mat on all of your peppers. It'll just make it go so much faster. Now it's not required, but it will be a huge game changer for you. Instead of waiting like a month, maybe more to germinate, it's going to be like a week, maybe tops. So you want to make sure that you do have plenty of heat going whenever you're germinating peppers. Okay, Just Being Bruce said, how close should I put the fan? So, I mean, there's no like tried and true, like must be this distance away. So what we do, we just put it somewhere where we can make sure that we just see some movement of the leaves. Now, we don't want them like completely going and getting blown completely over, but we do want to see some air movement, and we want to see the leaves moving around. So just a happy medium place, and you can also adjust like the temperature, or the speed of it as well. Okay. Harry says, I use the biodome with a heat mat and temperature controller set to 85. And my tomatoes, peppers, etc., all start in a couple days. Awesome. Yeah, that's terrific. I definitely think that that's definitely true, especially with the biodome. It works amazing. And I mean, we've tried growing in so many different things before, and anything that we've always struggled with germinating, we tried in the biodome this year. Like we tried a bunch of herbs and peppers, like anything that we had difficulty with before, we always try them in and make sure we plant them in the biodome, because we always have success in there. It's amazing. Okay. Any other pepper questions before we go? Oh, okay. Michelle wants to know, is there a link for Smart Pot? Okay. So can Dale or Andrew get a link for Smart Pots in? Okay. There we go. There's a link for one of the 5-gallon ones right there. And we actually do have a coupon code too with the in the From Seed to Spoon app. It is spoon 15, all caps, spoon, and then 15. So you can use that whenever you check out to get 15% off of your entire order. Okay. Next, I do want to make sure that I mentioned some greens. Lettuce is one of my favorite greens to grow. It's probably one of the easier ones. You can grow it at any time, like 4 to 6 weeks before last spring frost. So even if you still have quite a while until your last spring frost, you can still get lettuce out, and it will do really well for you. And you can harvest it really fast too, which is amazing. So different varieties will grow different rates again, obviously, but some of them are ready to harvest within a month, which is amazing. I know for us, like we were out there harvesting within like a few weeks, I felt like this season, which was amazing. But there are so many terrific varieties of lettuce too. If you are further in like the central area or south, hopefully they'll pop up one of my favorites varieties down here below, which is the Summer Glory Blend. It is really good to be one of the last lettuces that you plant out in the spring, because it does really well with the heat. So if you want to still grow lettuce, but you don't have, maybe you're pushing the time on it because lettuce does not really like the heat. So you want to make sure to try and protect it or grow some of the heat ones. And then So lettuce can also take some shade too to help to try to extend the growing season a little bit into the summer as well. So I would always plant lettuce pretty much in full sun whenever I am planting it, like 4 to 6 weeks before last spring frost. But if it's going to be like, if I'm pushing it, like if I'm going to be planting it now, I'll try and put it next to somewhere where I'm going to have a little bit of shade, maybe growing something that's bigger that might provide a little bit of shade and protection from it as well. Okay, and there's that summer glory blend. So next, we have cucumbers. So cucumbers are another one that's going to be after your last spring frost. So for us, we're going to be planting cucumbers here come like another week or two outdoors, and it will be we have so many different varieties of cucumbers as well, because they have like little tiny little pickling cucumbers, and then also like the really large slicing ones too. The slicing ones are my favorite because I like to bring them inside. I like to slice them and put them in the freezer and use them kind of like ice cubes in the summer. Amazing. It's like my favorite way to eat cucumbers now is, well, I guess not technically eat them, but you get the flavor and the taste of it in your water. It's so refreshing. I love it. You definitely need to try that. Um, but definitely the cucumbers are going to be needing a trellis to grow up as well. Um, Now we do have several of the smaller like patio varieties that won't necessarily need a huge trellis. You just need to have a little bit of support for them. And I did see this comment come up from Smart Pots. Have you tried the mini me cucumbers? So I don't think we personally have we?
Not yet.
Yeah, I was gonna say not yet, but we are going to be growing them. These are ones that I ordered with Park Seed, and we're going to be. But I do know people who are growing them as well too, and I've heard really good things about them. And they're going to be one of the little teeny tiny, like they look so cute. I'm really excited for them. Yeah, I can't wait to try those. Yep. Oh, there's the mini me link right there for the cucumber seeds. Those are the little tiny, little cute ones, and they're going to be a one that you can grow. Like they'll be great to pop into a smart pot as well. Um, so typically with cucumbers, um, we don't really start these indoors. We generally start them outdoors. So I would definitely recommend, yes, to be sowing them outside, because I mean they grow so fast too, and they need heat, and the environment outside is going to be perfect for them. It'll stunt them and make them grow a lot slower if they go through the transplant shock and all that. So we just always go through and do that for all of our like cucumbers and squashes, things like that. We always just direct seed all of those. Okay. Strawberries. We have been going through and planting a lot of strawberries already. So, and we're definitely not done. I feel like I don't even know how many strawberries we've started, but we got one pack of every single variety that Park Seed carries, and we are growing like all of them. Our kids are extremely excited. They go out there, I feel like every single day, and they're checking to see how much green is on them. Are there any leaves yet? Because we started them from bare root. So the difference with strawberries, you can start them several different ways. So, and we're actually experimenting with new ways this season too. We just started some strawberries by seed as well indoors. And then we're doing a lot of bare roots this year. We've typically in the past stuck to just transplants, but bare roots are supposed to be a lot better overall. They're going to be a lot better, healthier, and they grow. They'll look just like transplants in like a couple weeks. I've already noticed like we have had our bare roots out for maybe a week, and they're already looking like there's a bunch of green leaves coming up. Like they're already looking like transplants. I'm like, wow, it looks amazing. So our kids are really excited too. They can't wait. So hopefully it will take us probably another year or so, before we get to harvest a lot of strawberries off of them. But sometimes we're lucky and sometimes we get a couple. Um, so yes, so this Park Swapper strawberry is amazing. These are going to be some really big strawberries and super tasty. So this is a great variety to add into your garden. So the difference between I will say too, like the difference between these bare root strawberries that we got from Park Seed versus like ones that we got from the store, it was amazing. Like the difference between them, the quality was so much better. Um, Whenever we were pulling them out, like we found so many dead ones from the store, and we're like, "Oh, these do not look good." But whenever we pulled out the ones from Park, we're like, "Oh yes, this is what they're actually supposed to look like." So I was really happy with the quality of them. Okay, Dorothy. Oh, hi, Dorothy. We actually ran into Dorothy at the Norman Farmers Market the other last, was that last week? So great to see you again. So Dorothy says, I planted some of mine that I ordered from Park Seed. I'm planting 20 more bare roots today. Did you put any fertilizer on them yet? Um, yeah, so whenever we went to plant them out, actually, we mixed in some fertilizer into the new soil, the soil that we were making for it. So we went through and put in like that at planting. So I would recommend doing that. Okay. Zinnias. Zinnias are amazing. You guys should see how many zinnia packets of flowers that I got I ordered from Park Seed, because I kid you not, like Park Seed has like 100 plus zinnia varieties. It's incredible the varieties that they have, and they're so beautiful. They have so many different unique ones. I could literally get every single one. It was amazing. Um, Anyways, we got a whole bunch of them, and this is a great variety mix right here because it's the Parks Picks mix. So that'll have a mixture of several of the zinnia seeds too. But they have so many different. They have like the Parks Picks mix. They have Cinderella ones. Oh, I could go on and on about zinnias because zinnias are amazing, and they are gorgeous. They are super simple to grow. Again, for beginners, very easy to get started by seed. You can start them indoors, but they are really easy to direct seed outdoors as well, and just start by seed outside. Now you can start by seed 1 to 2 weeks before your last spring frost. Um, oh, I see we got another strawberry follow-up question real quick from Dorothy. What kind of fertilizer? Okay, so we just did Espoma. We have the Espoma all-purpose one that we use. Pretty much all the fertilizers that we do use is the Espoma Organics. It's super. I mean, it's super good quality. It's all organic materials. Yeah, I always use that. Okay, so oh, yep, and there's a link right there. That's what we used. um, so zinnias, yes, zinnias are amazing. They will bring in a lot of pollinators, lots of butterflies and bees. Like you will see so many pollinators that come flocking to your zinnia patch. And the amazing thing about zinnias too, you can plant them in the spring. Again, this is just like the sunflowers that we were talking about earlier. You plant out the zinnias, and then if you let them go to seed at the end of the season in the fall, they will drop their seeds into the ground, and then they'll come up again that following spring. And so there's no need for you to go out there and keep planting them out. Um, I feel like you just plant it once and then maybe keep adding a few new varieties if you want to, and you're good to go. Zinnias are super fast to bloom, and they're gorgeous. I can't say enough great things about zinnias. So everybody needs to grow zinnias. Again, it's a really good beginner-friendly plant if you guys are intimidated by starting flowers from seed. Zinnias are an amazing one to do, and zinnias are in the app now too. I have been going through and adding a whole bunch of new flowers into the app. So make sure that you guys are checking that out. And if you guys have any suggestions for any more flowers or anything that is missing from the app, let me know. You can pop it in the comment section right now and they can pop it up and tell me. So I'm looking for the next variety to add into the app. Okay. We have more, let's see, more questions. Oh, okay. More strawberry questions. So strawberries, let's see. Do you recommend the everbearing or June bearing for hot climates? So I would say probably everbearing. I personally I love doing a mixture of both myself. But I will say the everbearing is going to be a little bit smaller and easier, especially if you do have a hotter temperature, you might get more. But honestly, I would do a mixture of both. Like if you have room, do a variety that's everbearing and of June bearing, because in June you can get a huge harvest of them, and then in the yeah, and then you can get a whole bunch there too later on in the year too. Let's see. I ordered. I cannot pronounce the name, but I do know what which variety you're talking about. And seascape. What should I get? The Park Whopper. Um, so I'm gonna say the same thing pretty much as I did with the last one. I am always a fan of doing a mixture of everbearing and June bearing. So if you have enough space, I would totally get more and have a good variety of some everbearing and some June bearing. So that way you have plenty. You can never have too many strawberries, right? Okay, Kimberly says, which variety would be good for cooler climates? I mean, honestly, every single one of these are going to be good for cool climates. Strawberries do really well in the cooler zones, so those are some. I mean, all of these are going to do great for you. Okay, back here we have summer squash next. So summer squashes, especially, okay, so zucchini is probably one of my favorite things to cook with in the kitchen because there's such a variety of things that you can grow and eat with it. Amazing. And so anytime after last spring frost, again, these are ones that I would direct seed. They do great by starting outdoors. There's no need to start them indoors. And they grow fairly fast, as you can tell with those days of harvest. Like um, pretty much like a month and a half to 2 months, you'll start to get some summer squash, some zucchini. It's gonna do great for you. The only issues that you may have with zucchini again is going to be the squash bugs and the squash vine borers, and those we are trying something new this year with our squash plants. We are so hopefully you guys have seen our PVC dome hoop houses. I've been posting about them a lot on social media. So if you guys follow us on any of our channels, you'll see, I'm sure, plenty of videos and pictures. But we are going to be planting some zucchini like underneath some insect netting in our dome hoop houses, and we're going to let them get to like the stage where they like start to get a little bit more of the mature age where they will start to flower, and then we will go ahead and open it up for the pollinators. But that way we're going to be protecting it whenever it's ripe for the picking, whenever the squash bugs and the squash vine borers are looking for it. We're hopefully going to get rid of them by keeping the insect netting covering it. So hopefully that will help to protect it until we get to the flowering stage. And hopefully once it gets to the flowering stage, we can keep an eye on it. I did see somebody was asking about squash bugs. Yeah, so that's what we're doing for squash bugs. Another thing that we've done in the past, if you don't have like a PVC dome hoop house or anything like that, we've grown it almost vertically. I know it's not really one that you really would traditionally see vertical, but if you put like a T-post next to it or something like that, you can kind of train it and like tie it up to it and grow it almost vertically. So that way you can see underneath the leaves. And also they'll be more exposed too for like the predators to go through and eat them and all of that. Okay. Oh, Kimberly says, will you be interplanting anything else under the netting with those? Yes. Funny you should ask because radishes just pulled up right now. And I will be planting radish with my squash. So radish, especially the daikon variety, is supposed to be really good at repelling squash bugs. So that is something that is really good. That's supposed to be helpful with repelling squash bugs. And then we're also going to be planting things like dill and I won't be planting mint with that in there because mint will take over, but I will have mints in like smaller little smart pots scattered around, and mint is supposed to really help too with squash bugs and things like that. So, radish, speaking of, these ones are amazing to grow, especially for beginners. Again, these are a very beginner friendly plant. They will grow really fast for you. I mean, as you can see, the 25 to 40 days to harvest. It's incredible. It is probably one of the fastest things that you will grow out there. And it's amazing to have success too that fast, especially if you are a beginner. You will just you'll have food really fast. It's amazing. And you can get started growing them 4 to 6 weeks before your last spring frost. You can grow them still a little bit further into the summer. And now, obviously, because we are still planting out rounds of radish. Again, they grow so fast. And if you are wanting to grow them a little bit when it's warmer out, just give them a little bit of afternoon shade and they'll still do really well for you. Okay, next we have Snapdragons. Okay, I'm watching the time. I'm going to have to go through these last couple pretty fast. We've had a lot of great questions. I love it. Thank you guys for having giving me people to talk to. Snapdragons I love because they are so much fun for the kids. They have these beautiful flowers and they're a really good addition to your April garden. You can direct seed them. You can also start them indoors too. You can do them however you want to, but you can get them outdoors as early as 4 weeks before the last spring frost. So like right now, we're going to be putting out our Snapdragons now. I mean, we could have gotten started a lot sooner too, but you can grow these at any time. They're amazing. They grow pretty fast. We have transplants in right now, and they're already really large, which is amazing. So I highly recommend getting Snapdragons. Pollinators will love them, and they will flock to your garden because of these. Oh, and we have another 10 for 25 Snapdragons. Nice. I love it. We have a lot of sale seeds. Okay, next is our beets. So beets are another one that you can grow at any point with the 4 to 6 weeks before your last spring frost. So even up north, you should be able to get these planted out as long as the soil is workable. You can get these planted pretty much. Again, these are another really fast growing crop, 50 to 70 days until you can harvest them. The great thing about beets too is like the entire plant is edible. A lot of people eat beet greens as well, and they're just as tasty. Beets are great. So, oh yes, the rainbow mix beet seeds. These are incredible, super pretty. And honestly, the best thing about root crops, I feel like, are all the colors. There's so many different colors and varieties, and it's really fun to go through and harvest because you never know what color you're going to pull up. It's fun. Okay, and potatoes. So we have gone through and planted our potatoes here, but if you haven't planted your potatoes yet, just get them in the ground now. And we plant all of ours into larger smart pots. So we do like 20-gallon smart pots typically, just because it's so easy to so what we do, we fill them up halfway with soil, and then we put potatoes inside of it. And then as they start growing, we go through and we can layer in like some compost and more soil on top. And then by the time it's done growing, we're going to be able just to completely dump out that smart pot into like a wheelbarrow or cart, something like that. And then we can just go through an Easter egg hunt all of those potatoes out. It's really fun with the kids. And yes, the purple Viking tomato or potato, I love it because obviously, who doesn't love a purple potato? It's so fun, so unique. The first time that we made purple mashed potatoes, like the kids were like, "What in the world is this?" But it was so much fun. They loved it. They thought it was so great, and it's definitely amazing to have unique varieties that you can't find at the store. And oh yes, so this Australian crescent one, we grew these last year, and they were incredible. So they're actually like pretty small potatoes, and they are so tasty. Oh, did I say Australia, not Austrian? Sorry. Yeah. Talking too fast. Sorry. Um, anyways, I love these. They taste incredible. They have like this buttery taste in them. And they're so good. Like honestly, I felt like we didn't even really need to add any sort of butter or flavoring to them because they were so good. And I love that they were so small too. They were easy to use. I didn't have to like chop them up or do anything like that. So yes, potatoes, I love doing them in smart pots. Highly recommend that for these ones. Okay, last but not least, beans. So beans need to be planted after your last spring frost. If it is still before your last spring frost, like up north, I would recommend doing peas instead of beans. But pretty much as soon as we start approaching our frost date, then we switch over to beans because beans will grow through the summer, sometimes completely through the summer. But if it gets too hot for them, we do things like southern peas at that point. But we always have some sort of like beans or peas growing like pretty much at all times. So beans are ones you'll do like after your spring frost to do. Um, so there's two different types of beans. There are bush beans and pole beans, and they are different too. So these ones down here, these Whopper bush beans are amazing. This is typically the variety of bush beans that we do grow. You can grow them like what we typically do is take one of the larger round raised beds of the smart pots and plant them through there, and you get a whole bunch of beans like all at once. It's amazing, and it'll give you a lot. They're super easy to grow. And then when the vines, then we also have like the pole beans. So those ones we do with up on things like our trellises that we have, like our arch trellises that I absolutely love. We do a lot of these, and yes, this Orient Wonder. Dale knows me so well. He's just popping up all my favorite varieties. Yes, so this is my favorite pole bean because these are the yard long ones. If you haven't seen them before, like they literally get like a yard long. It's amazing. I have pictures of the kids holding them up, and they're like this, and it's like growing all the way down here. It's so cool. They think it's so much fun just going through and picking those. So those ones are really fun to grow. So let's see. Is there a patio type bean? I don't know. Do we have patio? I would say any sort of the bush beans would be a really good patio one. One that you don't necessarily need a trellis system for, but we do have like um, some of the pole bean or like the dwarf ones that we put on the smaller trellises that we have. But I would recommend just doing like one of the smaller bush beans. Those ones would be better. I know personally we like to use those. I don't know if you guys have seen those green stalk towers where you can grow like a bunch of different plants in like either each rows, and then you grow vertically. Those are really fun, and we do a variety of things in those. And this would be really good to grow in that. So check those out. We have a bunch of pictures and stuff on our Instagram page, and I've also made like TikToks about them and stuff like that. So make sure you check them out. Okay, whew, 5 minutes to spare. There, wow. Okay, so that was it. So I know that's obviously not all of the things that you could plant in April, but I tried to pull out a few of the hopefully most common or um, most popular things. But if you guys have any other questions, hopefully we've gone through and answered a lot of them, and we'll have time to maybe answer a couple at the end again. But if you guys do have questions, I want to make sure I call out Growbot also. So if you guys don't have, you can either download the Growbot standalone app on iOS, or Growbot is also available on our From Seed to Spoon app. In the bottom corner, you'll see a little Growbot icon. You can click on Growbot, ask any gardening questions you have, and it's trained up with all of our data that we have in our From Seed to Spoon app and from Park Seed. So it has a whole bunch of great great information there. Okay, so are we going to do the giveaway now?
Let's do it.
Okay, let's do it. So 1 year free premium From Seed to Spoon app subscription is going to, let's find out. Are you going to pop it up?
Yeah, 1 second.
I don't even know who won. Oh, Kimberly Babbitt. Awesome. Congratulations, Kimberly. Make sure you email us at info@seedtospoon.net and we will get you set up with your free 1 year premium app subscription. So with that, you're going to get unlimited plants that you can log. You're also going to be getting free shipping, which is really exciting, on all of your orders through the app. And that, I mean, honestly, who doesn't love that? And then all of your unlimited questions with Growbot. Like, there's so many amazing, amazing benefits. You're going to love it. I hope you love it. Okay. Aw, you're welcome. Yay. So make sure you email us. We'll get you set up. Okay, we'll do a couple more questions here until the top of the hour, and we'll hopefully get through as many as we can. So yes, the zone map did change in 2023. You are correct. So we actually did have to go through and update our app at that point as well too. How many weeks before frost should you plant tomatoes inside? Ooh, you know what? I'm going to have to look at the app for that. 4 to 6? Okay. I'm told 4 to 6. So, but I mean, honestly, we sometimes push that a little bit, but I always just look at the app. The app is going to tell you exactly, like, it'll pull your closest weather station and give you the dates that you should plant inside. So that way I don't ever have to remember the weeks. Okay. My broccoli and cauliflower grow beautiful leaves, but never head. So it's possibly a light issue if you don't have enough sunlight. Maybe fertilizer too. I would definitely look at a few of those and make sure that you're doing good with that. Kimberly says, is there like a super cheap cheat for a heat mat? Finances are incredibly tight until August when mom can go back to working. Okay. Super cheap cheat for a heat mat. So if you have like a TV cabinet or any sort of electronics, like like a TV speaker system, obviously don't get these wet, but it will definitely give a lot of heat. But you will definitely need to be very careful about water spilling. So definitely do that. And then once they germinate, you can just go ahead and move them off too, because you really only need a heat mat whenever you're germinating your seeds anyways. So hopefully you won't even have to be watering at that point. Okay. I'm in Michigan. Last frost date May 10th. Should I start the bare root strawberries in-house or outside? I would just start them directly outside. So one of the great things with Park is that they will ship out your bare roots and your plants, all of that. The live plants and bare roots will all go out at the appropriate time that it is time for you to start planting outdoors. So any of your bare root strawberries that you order from Park, like, it'll ship out to you like whenever you're ready to plant it outdoors. Oh, okay. We have some Recommendations for new plants to be added. Okay, great. I will add these onto my list. We have pansies. I don't even know what sapoglossus. That's a new one for me. I'm gonna have to look that up. Nice. And then asters. Oh, I love asters. Okay, yes, I am on board with those. I'll put them on my list. Okay, how often do you fill up around the potatoes? Do you cover the green leaves or just fill around them? So, I mean, really, there's no like additional time. I just go out and just keep an eye on the plants, and as they're growing, I'll start to add in soil as they go. And I always do leave some of the leaves still exposed, so that way it just can continue. You want to have like at least like two up there, so that way they can get plenty of sun and all that. But yeah, I just go through, just keep an eye on it, do it as needed. See, I have Aspa sprouting in my Park Seed Biodome and two roundish leaves on them now. Is it time to put them out? No, you need to. So these are just the sprouting, the seed leaves. So you'll want to wait until you have at least 2 to 4 true leaves on them. And then you will go through and put them out. So I would wait a little bit on that. I've improvised a heat mat with keeping my indoor plants on my washer dry. Oh, that's great. That is a great advice. I love that. Thank you for sharing. Yeah, I love that idea. I'm doing it on the dryer. Yeah, like it's super warm. Okay. Well, great. We are already a couple minutes ordered over. So, um, thank you all so much for joining us today. This was really fun, of course, to chat with you all. Thank you so much for all chatting with me. And we will be back here again next week. And next week, we are going to be talking all about small space gardening and container gardening. And I'm going to be having a guest with me next week too, Bethany with Chicago Gardener. She is growing, so she grows on a rooftop in Chicago in an urban setting. It's awesome. You guys need to check her out. But she'll be here with me next week talking all about small spaces and tater gardenings, tips and tricks for all of that. So I look forward to seeing you all here, same time, same place next week. If you guys aren't already following us on social, make sure you do that too. We have YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, you name it. We're everywhere. So I look forward to seeing you all hopefully there and next week here again. Thank you all. We'll see you